Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Pisces energy. We're going to get like 3 or 4 cards out, and then we're going to get some clarifiers on top of it to fill out the story of what might be going on in Pisces energy. And keep in mind, we all tap into Pisces energy. We're all using our imagination and our emotions and our intuition either for positive, loving purposes or for selfish, greedy, fearful purposes. And the bottom of the deck is Five of Swords. Some people might have a win at all costs attitude and they're fearful of moving forward. Let's see what they're fearful of. Oh, fearful of trusting the universe and taking a leap of faith and maybe apologizing or tapping into their youthful inner nature of love. Maybe don't want to be held accountable for their actions. Don't maybe want to make a final decision to be loving and dedicated and committed in their relationships and their contracts. Because they're used to maybe creating illusions in relationships. Some of them, because they do want to win at all costs, could have taken a risk to offer love to kind of repeat past patterns of the past. And they've decided to get in a relationship and just create illusion. And you positive people, you're going to use these energies in a positive way. You're protecting your future. You want to be in relationships with people who are willing to trust the universe, who are willing to come from that inner youthful, hopeful, believing nature, who are willing to make a decision to be loyal, committed, dedicated, hardworking, and see all the emotional possibilities of moving forward in life, following your hopes and dreams and having trust and faith that the universe has a plan for you. So let's see what we got here and what could be going on. Lots of swords energy. So maybe Pisces is battling with the mind. Pisces is our emotional sign, but we got 3 sword energies here. Well, I'd say you positive people are listening to your intuition about moving forward from 2 swords to 8 swords. That is the 6 of swords right there. You're listening to your intuition about moving forward. You have maybe seen that the people you were dealing with have mental conflict about hope and faith and trust. So you're working through your fears and insecurities about moving forward. You are going within in Virgo hermit mode to gain insight and understanding about the whole situation. Like, why do I have fears and insecurities about moving forward? You've obviously, in the 6 of Swords, you've seen the truth, and you're kind of taking your inner hopeful, dreamy inner child side and your emotional side, and you're moving forward. You're moving away from emotionally conflicting thoughts and moving to calmer emotional thoughts, and also expanding your perception of yourself in the world. So once you work through your fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, you will have the clarity and insight. You right now are doing the work and effort to gain insight about those things. And as you gain that insight, you will see things clearly. You will have some truth and clarity. And the whole thing is, to move forward in love. We build our life on love and hope and faith. It's how we've all thrived since we were small children, is to be in relationships with people who are loving and kind and compassionate and forgiving and self-disciplined and respectful and gentle. And if you've been in a relationship with someone who, in the 5 of Swords, that can be someone who has so much mental conflict about moving forward. They're so afraid of love and being hurt. They don't have the emotional stability within themselves, probably, they feel, to withstand a blow. If things weren't to work out, they'd rather live in mental conflict than choose love, because They're afraid of being hurt. They maybe feel they couldn't withstand it, they're not, it would destabilize them emotionally. So, people are where they're at, and we got to accept where people are at. And if this person took a risk, I see what happens is sometimes people who don't want to move forward in a positive manner, they probably wouldn't mind being in a relationship with you, but they want you to live life the way they live it, which is an illusion. That you tolerate their fear, their insecurity, their competitiveness, whatever it is. And they felt that if they took a risk to emotionally took a risk to in their win at all costs attitude, that to maybe go get in a different relationship, that they were hoping you would decide that you would be in a relationship with them living an illusion, which would mean this person makes mind over heart decisions, and it would probably break your heart, but they're hoping that you'll decide to be in a relationship with them and live in the illusion they live in, and that you'll just balance out your emotions about the whole situation. And they probably thought if they took a risk to go get in another relationship, that if it didn't work out with you and you decided, no, I'm done, I'm not living an illusion, I'm going to heal and balance out my emotions and heal and move forward in my life. Well, then they figure, well, I'll just be in a relationship with this other person that I maybe got in a relationship with. So this person you could be dealing with, which can be, a parent, a child, a friend, a coworker, a lover, whoever. That person's in two minds about things of what the truth is. Is the truth that I should build my life on fear, insecurity, pride, ego, materialism, selfishness, greed? Or should I live my life from love and hope and faith? They're in two minds about it. They're in denial. They don't want to see the truth. They have a blindfold on. They probably present themselves, a person who isn't authentically themselves. They present a facade of being one way, but internally they feel a different way. They're in a mental prison. They are surrounded and maybe worried about what everyone else would think. If they have been someone who presents themselves one way in the world, presents a facade, maybe presents the facade that they are a pillar of community. Look how stable and grounded they are. They're maybe afraid that, based on their own belief system and how they've presented themselves in the world, what would everyone say if they took a risk and, stepped out of societal norms in a way to make a decision to heal and balance out their pride and ego and fear and insecurities and trust the universe. So they could have moved away in order to hide. We either are willing to, in the Virgo earth sign energy, willing to put in the time, work, energy, and effort to see what we keep hidden in the dark, like of our mind, beneath the surface of our emotions, the things we haven't wanted to look at, to gain insight and wisdom about these things. Why do I have fear and insecurity about moving forward? Why am I in such a mental prison? Why am I in two minds about things? Why does listening to my intuition cause me to be in a mental prison about moving forward? This person, when they do start to, we listen to our intuition by listening to our emotions, how do I feel? How do things make me feel? What intuitively do I feel is right or wrong for me? And when they do that, it can kind of maybe put them in a mental prison. So they just let go of that and they move away and they hide. It's like, no, I don't want to look at it. Okay. And some of you positive people, if you had been some of these people who were in a mental prison before could end up seeing the truth, and they go align with their own Virgo nature, which is, I am going to go within and gain insight and wisdom. I am so tired of feeling stuck in a mental prison. They decide to go within and gain insight and wisdom. And when they do that, in the Five of Swords, that can talk about, kind of coming into balance within themselves too, because the maximum swords is 10, and the maximum of being in your heart is 10 of cups. So when they come down out of their head to Five of Swords, I know, we went from 6 swords to 5 swords. Well, for one thing, when these people were in two minds about things and in a mental prison, they moved away to hide that they let go of the truth. They went from 6 swords down to 5 swords. They let go of the truth. So the people who are still going to be defensive are choosing not to follow truth. But the people who have learned and are in positive Pisces energy, they have moved away and they've let go of some idea that they had, some belief that they had about, I don't know, themselves, the world, how they thought their life was going to go. And they've come to terms with that and are now ready to take a leap of faith. Okay, let's go get some clarifiers on there. And if that's too many, let's see what's going on. We'll show you that later. Okay, let's get some clarifiers on here. What's the Two of Swords about? Oh, someone. Well, you positive people, someone isn't telling the truth, that they reject love, that they have that win at all costs attitude, and they're afraid of being hurt, so they choose to live a life of illusion, more out of fear, insecurity, pride, or ego, or something like that. And if there was someone in your life, a Knight of Swords, which I particularly, see that as someone who is in Gemini energy, that you had been, offering love to, you could be done with that because you see this person isn't willing to fight for the truth. And maybe as the Empress reverse, which is Libra Taurus energy, maybe they're just unloving, unkind, unnurturing, don't know how to love and nurture themselves to give birth to any life, a new way of being in the world. They're pessimistic, sad, depressed, maybe all those kind of things. In the upright, it would be being positive and creative and just and fair and balanced and loyal and committed and loving, and this person isn't any of those. And an Empress in reverse, too, can be someone who's very selfish and greedy. It's all about them. They don't give anything. They take, 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 take. And they might be someone who wants to be surrounded by luxuries in life, and that's their focus, and they're unwilling to give birth to a new life. So if you had hoped to have a new beginning with this person, I would say you're letting that go, and you have moved away. You kind of are in a mental prison about continuing to move away. Tell us about the Eight of Swords. You are healing, maybe from someone who holds back, doesn't open up, isn't willing to work together with others or move forward, is still clinging to an old foundation, could be selfish and greedy, and maybe works from their pride and ego. And you are holding on to your own foundation and trying to be emotionally brave and strong. let's see, we go from 8 swords down to 4 swords. So, maybe you've given up hope on somebody else healing, but you're trying to heal from this person that was egotistical and prideful and maybe selfish and greedy. And what you're not showing people is that you are gaining insight. You are spending a lot of your time and energy to gain insight and wisdom about the past so that you can take creative, inspired action forward. And that you are kind of going through a death process right now of releasing this. The Scorpio death card is about shedding the old to give birth to the new. And again, the person you could have been dealing with was someone who kind of can be intimidating and controlling. They're kind of in shadowy Scorpio energy. They think life is just about death, sex, taxes. They don't want to go into deep emotions. Again, can be intimidating and controlling. And something ended. So you're gaining insight and wisdom and healing from that whole life experience. And when you quit being in two minds about it, you will move forward away from this mental conflict and these people who seem to have an energy about them of wanting to win at all costs. And you're going to keep listening to your intuition. If you were in a marriage or relationship, you've become single from that. You're moving forward. You're listening to your intuition. And you are healing from past pain and heartbreak. I would say right now, at one point in time, you were giving a lot of thought to healing. When you move forward, you will be done healing and you're just listening to your intuition to guide you. What does the universe, the divine, seem to be telling you is the next best thing for you to do? And you're going to move forward. Some of you possibly might move towards a Virgo. Hopefully you do that within yourself too. You've gained insight and understanding. But as you do that within yourself, you also might move towards a Virgo. Someone who harnesses Virgo energy. Someone who's grounded and practical and fun and communicative, but is someone who plans and organizes and is someone else who has also gone within to gain insight and wisdom and understanding. So, I guess I'd have to say another thing I see here, besides the fact that you might be healing from someone who isn't opening up, who operates from their pride and ego, you might be holding back from someone who's operating from their pride and ego in their Leo energy, and you are maybe not working together with anyone right now. You might be kind of holding back, not really moving forward, not working together with anyone, and you're trying to emotionally temper yourself. Leo is fire sign energy, and we've all got pride and ego, and we all have strong emotions that sometimes can make us run around the earthly jungle biting people's heads off. You're trying not to do that. Temper your beastly nature, your worldly self, to more emotionally control your wants, dreams, fears, insecurities while you go through this period of gaining an insight and wisdom. So, in the Hermit energy, you are going to start working from an emotional foundation. Looks like you've been up in your head a lot. So, starting to work on more of an emotional foundation so that you can find balance within yourself between your mind and your heart. And again, with the Five of Swords, that can be coming down from being so much up in your head so that you're equally balanced between the heart and the mind. And as you do that, and maybe for the fact that maybe, it looks like some relationship back here ended, you are going to move forward detach yourself from an old foundation that you used to be a part of. And some of those things can be a foundation of overthinking or being in your head or holding back, not opening up. Um, maybe being in Virgo mode too long. Well, not that, I wouldn't say. I would just say it's detaching from some foundation. You probably know. Some of you could have been working together with someone and juggling them, not really quite investing. And you decided to move away from that foundation. Let's see. Moving forward towards Justice reverse, Libra reverse. Maybe you could look at, it's kind of a weird setup here. It could be that maybe in the Two of Pentacles, you're kind of in Libra energy of trying to balance everything out, because our Libra energy is about finding balance and trying to maintain harmony. And, maybe that's what you've done a lot in your life. And maybe you were dealing with some people, though, that weren't speaking the truth, weren't offering love. We're holding back, we're being selfish and greedy, operating more from pride and ego. And it's like, that's an injustice. You were trying to maintain some type of balance with these people that you were working together with emotionally, but maybe now you're done doing that with Justice reverse, which is like your Libra energy reverse. Maybe a person you were trying to work things out with here, because we also did have the Knight of Swords, which is air sign energy, and Libra is air sign energy. Maybe you had been trying to balance things out and work together emotionally with Libra, and you're letting go of trying to work together with that person because they're not speaking the truth, they're not offering love, they don't want to give birth to a new life. They hold back, they're not opening up, they're maybe selfish and greedy. And you are going to move forward and let them go out of your life. If this person was not willing to do what it takes to learn their lessons, maybe that's why you're walking away from them. There's someone who refuses to learn their lessons. What they might think it's just and fair for them to not resolve things, to leave things open-ended, that they don't have to learn their lessons, that they can just, I don't know, do whatever they do. We'll get to them in a minute. But, you're letting it be. You are working from an emotional foundation to get your balance so that you can work on a new foundation within yourself and move forward. Because besides letting people like this go from your life, you also might see that doing what you were doing over here was an injustice to yourself. And the world reverse, that's interesting. There might be something that you don't want to end. The Three of Cups can talk about a third party. Maybe some people before were in two minds about things, afraid to speak the truth, afraid to move forward in love, afraid to give birth to a new life, and they were in a mental prison. They were trying to heal, trying to be emotionally brave and go within and take creative, inspired action and put an end to being someone who is maybe in an unloving situation, in negative Libra Taurus energy. And as you or they move forward and become more independent and listen to their intuition, they're going to move away from working together with people where they just kind of juggle them and don't really invest, which again is kind of like, I'm not going to give birth to new life here. I'm just kind of working together with you emotionally. And you're moving away, maybe to go towards this aspect, maybe a Libra, or just someone who harnesses positive Libra energy, who is just fair and balanced, who is no longer in your life, that you don't want things to end with the world reverse, because the world reverse would be us learning our lessons and closing out an old chapter of our life. Maybe you were some people, not you, whoever, maybe someone who is more in shadowy Pisces energy before, they were kind of juggling a third party type, just a relationship where you're kind of passive aggressive, emotionally manipulative, and you were kind of juggling them because you felt left out in the cold, because someone who was just and fair left your life because you hadn't learned your lessons before and you didn't want to be held responsible for your actions. And that's what you're gaining wisdom about. And so now you either might, when we are unjust and unfair and don't want to learn our lessons, we kind of reject our own sense of fairness and justice in life. We deserve to be in loving, kind, generous relationships. And to be in relationships where we're just kind of working with people and kind of juggling them, we've rejected our own sense of justice and fairness and balance. We deserve better than that. So when we decide to reject that within ourselves and we're unwilling to learn our lessons, that we decided, oh, we're going to go do this instead, because we maybe feel like we lack the resources or belief and confidence in ourselves to go towards the justice we deserve in life. Um, when we decide to act like this, anybody we had been in a relationship with or friendship group or whatever that did want us to be just and fair and learn our lessons and be accountable for our actions and go within to gain insight and wisdom about our fear and insecurities that make us feel like we lack. When we decide, no, I'm not going to do that, I'm going to go do this instead. Well, when we reject those aspects of ourselves, we reject people like that outside of our life. So I think some people, and some of you, you're just gaining insight and wisdom about other people who act like this. You already maybe ended a relationship with that person and you're moving forward and you're listening to your intuition and you're just gaining insight and wisdom about these people. But there would be the people who are kind of in shadowy Pisces energy who were in a mental prison about healing. So they chose to hold back. They chose to be in their pride and ego. They chose to turn their back on taking creative, inspired action to shed the old to give birth to the new and move forward and detach themselves from their old foundations where they could heal and listen to their intuition. Those people put an end to the relationship here. So for some of you, you were in a relationship with someone like that. Everybody kind of moved forward. They might have moved towards someone who is single and abundant, and they're in denial about the truth, of why they do what they do. They don't think that they're selfish or greedy, probably, maybe. They don't maybe think they're unjust, unfair. And it would take until they go get in that other relationship and they feel stuck because they know they and the person they're in a relationship are probably neither one of them. Both of them might have an energy of wanting to win at all costs. Both of them might operate from fear and insecurity. Neither one of them is speaking the truth. Neither one of them is willing to move forward in the energy of love. Neither one of them are creative and inspired and willing to give birth to new life. So these people, either by themselves or in a relationship, now they feel in a mental prison because they know they need to heal. They've been, they need to heal from their own selfishness and greed and pride and ego if they ever want to move forward in their life. They need to be willing to go within and gain insight and wisdom. They need to be willing to shed the old ways of being, or they're going to live in a mental prison all their life. So if those people decide that I have seen some truth about how I operate from my pride and ego, and I'm going to work on building up my own sense of self-worth and stability so that I'm no longer codependent and making decisions and getting into relationships because of fear, insecurity, pride, ego, blah, blah. And they're healing and listening to their intuition. And those people are gaining insight and wisdom about themselves. And there are those people that are in a mental prison, maybe in what they were in, that they got into out of pride and ego, unwilling to let go of an old way of being. And if some of them end that and move away to become single, they could still be in denial. And they're still hiding the fact that they could be hiding the fact that the third party they got in a relationship with juggled them and left them out in the cold. And they feel it's an injustice and they don't feel it's over. But yeah, if they're in shadowy Pisces energy, they're still not gaining insight and wisdom about it. Some could. I mean, we always hope. The whole point is that we keep repeating patterns of the past till we finally get so tired of it. It becomes more painful just to keep repeating patterns of the past than it is to face our fears and insecurities. So there'll be some people who will learn their lessons and start listening to their intuition and start working on an emotional foundation within themselves and be willing to walk away from those old ways of being because it was unjust. They weren't learning the lessons they were meant to learn, and they've made a final decision that they are going to trust the universe and take a leap of faith and put themselves out there. For some other people, they moved away and became single because maybe the relationship they got in was unloving, unkind, wasn't truthful. It had them in a mental prison. And so they could have even decided to hold back from the person they were in a relationship with in order. Oh, I just love the stories that come out. And it's painful, I know. I've been there if you guys are doing this, so I'm not laughing at you. It's just kind of interesting the stories that you see in the tarot. This person was in a mental prison in the relationship they got into. And they could have held back decided to still be in their pride and ego and hide the fact they held back from the person they were in a relationship with, maybe a Leo, and they're hiding the fact that they want to move forward and end this relationship. And if they're in shadowy energy, they're holding back being in their pride and ego and hiding that they want to move away from this relationship because they've decided they want to be single and still be in denial of the truth. And they are hiding maybe that the third party they had juggled left them feeling out in the cold. And they thought, because that person that they maybe went and got in a relationship with wasn't very loving. And so they've decided that they're going to continue to be unjust and unfair and not learn their lessons. But they have decided to be out of that relationship because they're just going to go take a risk with someone else. And they're still going to get in a relationship and create an illusion and, not listen to their heart and just try to balance out their emotions about whatever relationship they get into. Their belief system could be that when I get in relationships, I just create illusion, I kind of, work with people emotionally to a certain degree, but they might always like them to be triangulated type relationships where it's, all about having a good time and partying maybe, or maybe where they can be, not quite aligned with the energy of love, passive aggressive, emotionally manipulative, they juggle, don't really invest. And I guess whenever they start to feel left out in the cold about the whole thing, they'll just move on. They'll be unfair, unjust. They won't probably give the people they leave behind closure. They'll just decide, well, it's all about me. I'm going to make a decision that's best for me. I mean, I did work with you emotionally and of Seven of Cups. I probably created the illusion that I was healed and emotionally balanced and all that, but I'm not. So I would say you positive people, though, decided to let go of some unloving people in your life. You healed and became emotionally strong and went within to gain insight and wisdom so that you could move forward into a new life. You move forward, you are stable and abundant, you're listening to your intuition. You're still maybe gaining insight and wisdom about the past. That you don't want to work together emotionally with someone who juggles and doesn't really invest because that leaves you feeling left out in the cold. And that's not fair and that's not just. And you're going to make a decision to trust the universe, to put your belief system into practice, to dream of all the emotional possibilities ahead of you, come to balance between your heart and your mind, and heal and balance out your emotions. And you're going to continue to tap into your Virgo energy, which is your opposite sign. So that's good. It's kind of like we don't all want to be in our Pisces emotions. I mean, we have the whole zodiac to pick from, and your opposite nature is the Virgo energy. So if you're not used to going within to gain insight and wisdom, part of this life lesson, I would say, is that, the universe wants us to experience all the extremes kind of these zodiac characteristics and resources we have within us to utilize. And if you before were someone who operated more from your Pisces emotions, and it's kind of like the universe wants to stretch you to say, we need to have balance. And your opposite sign is Virgo. You also do need to be practical, grounded, planning, analyzing, going within to gain insight and wisdom, in order to fully utilize your Pisces energy in a way that won't betray you, you know? So I think you're going to work together emotionally with your Virgo nature. You're going to find some balance so that you can move forward. You are going to, if you had been someone who more somehow, maybe you had a lot of Libra in your chart, or if there was a Libra you were trying to work with, you're letting that go. Because that person refuses to learn their lessons. Maybe your own sense of wanting to balance things with people was an injustice to you. So you've kind of got to quit listening to your Libra. Oh, I want to get along with everybody. I want everything to be copacetic and, all that. And it's like, I need to work more with my Virgo energy. I need to be more practical, grounded, and stable. This isn't about trying to have balance with everyone in the world. We have to have balance within ourselves. And we need to treat ourselves in a just and fair manner. And you are going to take a leap of faith, trust the universe, come from an energy of love, and make a decision that a relationship or a marriage was or maybe a Taurus, somebody you got in a relationship with, kind of created emotional illusion, and that was heartbreaking. And if that's your own Taurus nature thinking, oh, I can be in relationships and I'll just try to maintain balance with everyone and I'll be loving at the expense of what's just and fair to you, you're not going to have that kind of belief system anymore, or that sense of what's just and fair. It's like, you don't deserve to be in relationships that are illusions that break your heart, or with people who create illusions when they're actually kind of juggling you and maybe make you feel left out in the cold. You are seeing through the illusion, and you are going to make a mind over heart decision to balance out your emotions. And you are going to heal. And instead of focusing on relationships of the past that didn't work out, you're going to accept this cup of love from the universe and take bold, creative, inspired Aries action to make a decision in your life to start putting in the work and effort to build your unique life and put an end to either you being emotionally manipulative in relationships or aspects of yourself tolerating other people that are emotionally manipulative. This 3 of Cups, 2 of Pentacles, juggling type of thing. You're going to put an end to that. If you were in a third-party situation with another man, other woman, with the 3 of Cups and the Queen of Wands, it can kind of mean that. You're putting an end to that. You are willing to move forward in your life and listen to your intuition and fight for the things you're passionate about to see your dreams come into reality. Seeing things from the bigger picture, having hope, faith, and belief. Willing to shed the old to give birth to the new, to stand up for your dreams and your hopes and dreams and take creative, inspired action. Interesting. Oh, I did flip the calendar to see what the message was, and it says, if you don't love yourself, you'll always be chasing after people who don't love you either. So make sure you love yourself. That's why we go within, to gain insight and wisdom, so that you can take that leap of faith and offer yourself love, to be bold, to be courageous. You're going to make a judgment on a relationship that maybe was an illusion. There you go, Pisces. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.